don't be lazy now. The crash is upon us for 2023. Half a point up again today. It's probably going to go up at least another half a point than the next one too. Anyways, but you can see I'm working late. I've been up since early. Uh, this is the time, and I'm going to turn out the lights here and talk to you guys a little bit about what I'm doing and what maybe I think you should be doing as well. You know, we got a real problem out there with people that are just lazy. I know people that are college degreed uh, professionals right now that are on state insurance, meaning, you know what I mean? They're basically qualifying for welfare. And these are people that are capable, uh, but they've found a way to, they've just given up. And I can't relate to it. I don't know. I've never been one to do that. But maybe some people are feeling just so that it's just so hard to make it that they just said fuck it and they're throwing in the towel. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't get it. Because there's jobs out there, people can make money. Uh, One of the main things I'm hearing right now from my tenants, so check this out. I have had one, two, three leases expire this month, into this month. One, actually, wasn't an expiration. It was going out of business. Actually, two of them were actually people voluntarily going out of business. But I had told them both that, hey, listen, it's tough to rent anything until February, and normally it is. And in both cases, and this is really cool, in both cases, the tenants that were leaving, and look, I'm a nice landlord. These are people that are in a lease with me. I could tie them up and hold them to the remaining months or a year or two that they have in their lease. But I have done that with some guys that have money, the bigger companies. I've had move out and I've held them to their lease, and I let them sublet as a workaround for them. But in this case, I had a beauty salon. She went out and she's actually one of my students too, by the way, in the mentorship. But you go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. I got stuff coming that I'm telling you don't want to miss. I've got some really cool stuff coming. I promise you. And I don't know anybody that can teach you what I'm going to teach you or what I've already taught the classes that I've had for the last 2.5 years. I got many millionaires in the class already, and I got a fantastic interview coming, and I'm doing a thing called real estate immersion. But I'll get back on point here. Uh, you really want to double down and work your ass off right now. In fact, it's nice to see him. See that building you see off the side there? That's one of my buildings, and I'm glad to see my tenants are working late. Everybody's working hard. Everybody that has any sense abilities knows, the Fed going up a half a point today, times are going to continue tougher. More property is going to be going back to the bank. The banks are tightening up. They're not going to loan any uh, unless you really have a great portfolio or and really well respected. It's going to be a lot tougher to get loans in general. But my point is, I stayed close to my tenants. I worked with them, and I got lucky here too. I'm not taking credit for it. I'm also lucky too. In this case, my tenant that moved out found a replacement to take over the space. That was very cool. And in the other one today, my tenant that was moving out, or basically having problems. Uh, when I went in there showing the space, I was showing it to a neon light guy, which was a fascinating shop. I looked at his shop, neon light. I'm having kind of a Joe Rogan style light made myself for FlipAnything. But uh, by showing the place, it lit a fire under the employees that were there, and they brokered a deal uh, with their boss, the current tenant, and they're taking over the space. And so in both cases, I've transitioned. I'm not even losing a day's rent. I'm just going. They're both picking up the leases. January 1st. I've already got deposits. Everything's strong and looks good. Uh, the other thing is I've got another one. I've got another one where I've got a big tenant, and one lease expired. There was a subtenant in there because this is one that I held to their lease. I've been paying on it 5 years. Uh, They wanted to get out of it. I didn't let them out of it. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have really been in trouble through COVID, right? I probably wouldn't have been able to get the place released. Anyways, they wrote me their last check. New tenants writing me a check now, taking over the space beginning January 1st. And so just those three tenants alone are uh, 13,000, no, $14,000 a month, 8,500 plus another 5,500, and I'm 100% occupied. It's amazing. I'm amazed that I'm 100% occupied. I'm almost never 100% occupied. I mean, I take it back. I lied. I'm probably 99% occupied. Okay, probably 99% occupied. I think I got, well, even better than that actually. Anyhow, I got one little hole to fill in one building. It's a small thing, but I'm telling you, this is the time to double down and get your tenants. This is the time to double down and work late. Get rid of those, get rid of any little things that's eating you. Get rid of the things you don't need. And I'm talking about apps, the little apps things that eat you, every month. I'm probably still paying for apps from when my kids were kids and they're adults now. Getting on those things sometimes are a pain in the ass to undo. By the way, I did notice something. This is kind of a cool tip, by the way. If you have, if you bank with Wells Fargo and Chase, I bank with both. Um, if you go in there, they have a button in there that will, if you have like an app that you're having trouble ungluing from you. I just missed something, damn it. Uh, you can uh, can basically dispute it, and they'll stop paying on the app, and then the app people will wake up and do what they got to do. Uh, but there's a lot of apps that are set up where they're very difficult to get out of. But anyways, I just wanted to touch base and say, man, this is the time to work your ass off. I know it's discouraging. I know it's tough. I can tell you one thing right now. One thing's universal with all tenants. They all are having trouble finding good employees. They say, we don't understand it. You know, and I, you know what? I have fewer employees now than I've ever had in my life. I've had a lot of different business interests, and I don't even know what to advise, because I mean, sure, I've had people that didn't work hard or didn't want to work well, and you get them rid of them, and you get somebody that does. Of course, but we're talking about people that can be paid well, or really decent, aren't working, and I don't get it, and I don't know where they're getting their money. I don't know how they're surviving, but they are. And maybe you guys have an idea. I'd love to hear from you, because I don't get it. Maybe some of you guys are on the dole. Tell us where the money's coming from, because like I said, I was quite surprised to hear about these college degreed folks that I know that are basically on a form of welfare, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, that's probably part of the problem. It's too easy to get by. I'm a fan of the old soup lines. They had soup lines in the Depression long before, I mean, nothing I ever witnessed, obviously, but, that's like, we'll feed you. We'll feed you. We'll keep you fed. We'll keep you fed. And, you know, but now it's, we'll keep you fed. We'll give you a phone. We'll give you more money than somebody makes that saved their that saved $2 million over their lifetime, and the interest they get on that $2 million from a bank is less than what welfare pays a lot of people for having a bunch of bastard children. It's just a fact, and it it really is concerning. But it's the time to double down and work hard, because believe me, there's so many people that are lazy, and there's so many people that are just, I mean, it's like you're like a fox among sheep, or a wolf among sheep. I mean, that's how bad it is. These people just aren't, it's just sad, because there's so much to be had and so much money made. Man, I'll tell you what, one of my new tenants today, unbelievable, beautiful girl, and just smart. Oh my God, she's smart. I looked at her company, I looked up her recommendations, and her referrals and reviews, and she has got a stellar business, and I mean almost 100% 5 stars. And I looked over. There was a 1 star, maybe one star, maybe two 1 stars out of like 80 reviews. And I went over to take a look at that, and I saw where she came back and responded, and man, just handled it so beautifully that I was really impressed with her. And so I was like, and I'd already made the deal to rent to her, but I was just uh, so impressed. So listen, you know, a lot of people, you start to sound like your folks when you get older. Like, I don't know what's wrong with kids today. Everybody's lazy. Nobody works hard. I used to walk 5 miles to school, that sort of shit. I'd hear that when I was a kid too. Walk through snow to get to school and all that other stuff. And, you start to sound like your parents the older you get, as you start to criticize people that don't do a good job or shitty politicians and that sort of thing. Anyways, but I'm telling you, you guys that are young, you millennials, or what I don't know what the Gen X or whatever you guys are now, listen, there's plenty of lazy baby boomers. There's plenty of people that this not I say this to my members, but I also have told my kids forever. Get skills, and a good life is by design. Those are probably the two comments or the two phrases that I've said more than anything. A good life is by design, and and you're never too late to improve your life and get it going. And got people that made $1 million now. This next 10, wait until you see this interview. Fantastic interview of Rich coming up, who's also been through the real estate immersion now. And basically, I've got the perfect setup here because I've built a lot of wealth over the last 30 years right here where I'm sitting and in the surrounding community. I'm at the far end of one of my barbells right now. And you guys that know what a barbell is, you should hit that subscribe button, by the way, because you need to know this stuff. If you want to prosper quickly, believe me, I've made so many deals. I was going through it as I was making my barbell, and basically what I was doing was, uh, uh, mapping my barbell. And I don't even know how many properties, maybe 50 properties, something like that. But basically, I gave Rich a tour of a small piece of my barbell, and it took 3 hours to do, and we only hit a small portion of it. So, and we're talking my barbell, and over the 30 years where I've made tens of millions of dollars, this covers an expanse of lots, small acreage, large acreage, commercial, industrial, land, buildings, uh, millions of dollars on apartments, made millions of dollars on land deals. I've made millions of dollars on houses. I've made millions of dollars on commercial property. I've made millions of dollars on industrial property. I sometimes forget experiences, and then I'm reminded, oh yeah, I did do that. It goes back to that old saying. And by the way, I'm where I'm at right now. By the way, I'm at the food park. What do we got here, real quick? And then I got to take this. All right, I think we got sound now, guys, right? Audio? Yeah? Let me know. Anyways, I just gave you a tour of my food park at night. Busy as shit. And it's a good thing. And what you just saw was me picking up rents and deposit for new space. I got a new seafood truck. But I assume you guys heard everything I said earlier, right? I hate to think I've been rambling on here for 15 minutes for nothing. Anyways, good. Okay, good. Awesome. Yeah, so, God damn. You guys can see I'm just so challenged when it comes to this shit. But, man, listen. But, man, listen, I don't know. We're going into an economy, right, that's getting rougher. This half a point is going to be devastating to a lot of people, but you can profit from it. That's the bottom line. And guess what? So many people have pretty much just given up, it seems. It's just all that more. All that, there's just less competition and maybe more for the taking. I hate to say it because I prefer everybody prosper. But, some people just don't do enough. They don't try hard enough. And, I've worked hard my whole life, and I still do, and I haven't even had to work. For the last 20 years, I could have been sipping margaritas and getting fat by the beach, and it wouldn't have mattered. I could have, except I had kids. But I could be doing that now. I could have been doing it with my kids, too, if I wanted. Ben's done a pretty good job. I'm kidding, Ben Malla. Anyways, but I guess all I want to share with you guys is, man, don't give up your good work ethic. It's so important. And, I worked my butt off. And, when I started a business, and, that's one of the roughest things starting a business is, sometimes you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. You got your dream ahead of you and what you plan on doing. And, you struggle, there's no work, or you do a job too cheap. And you realize you're working for $2 an hour, which literally can happen, or even lose money. But you're trying to keep maybe the employees that you have working, that sort of thing. You learn from all those experiences. And but I'll tell you, if you can be a one-man show or a handful of, if you got a small business with just a handful of that are good, and you know what, just identify the people that are willing to work till midnight if they need to. Now I understand people have kids and that sort of thing, and that happens, but you just I was having this, it's sad, I'm having the same conversation with so many of my tenants about, they're like, if they're already well established and they don't need it anymore, they're like, I'm ready to, I'll fold up and sell, not fight it, or sell the company to somebody else that wants to deal with it, or some of them are like, they're just so frustrated because they're hiring people and then they got to let them go. The people crap out, burn out, and they have different problems. And I think if I was to try to say what I think the problems are, I think it's just everybody struggling with the higher wages. The higher costs. It costs more for everything, right? Inflation. And, of course, if you listen to who's in charge of the country, everything's fine. No, that's not true. And I don't know. But I just don't want anybody to give up. Keep your overhead low, and just keep, I just can't emphasize that enough. Keep your overhead low. Eat more eggs. I actually eat a lot of eggs. I probably eat more eggs than I should. And it's not because I'm cheap, but eggs are cheap, right? Eggs are cheap. But you can eat. Even eggs have gone up a lot from what I understand. I'm not much of a grocery person. I don't pay much attention when I buy stuff. But you can live, and I'll tell you what, I have a lot of Mexican folks that work for me. And I've seen them save a lot of money. And, they'll make egg tacos and different things, and they'll bring them to work. And I remember one of my one of my employees that, she says, Tom, we have $100,000 or $200,000 that they had saved. And we're talking, landscaper and cleaning person, and they had saved a couple $100,000. And I said, look, if you want, I'll borrow it from you, and I'll give you 5% on the money, or at least you'll have it working for you. I said, or if you want to go find something to buy, real estate wise. And I think I took $100,000 from them and just paid them 5% on a year. But it was more of a courtesy to help them, because they didn't know what else to do with their money. And you got to remember, it's not easy for me to tell them what to do, and I don't really necessarily want to take the responsibility of saying, here, buy this. Well, eventually they have bought some properties. I didn't tell them to buy the house. They did buy a house. But I'm telling you, when people say, oh, I just don't see any way out of this mess, or it's just bullshit. When you see people that make, less than $15 an hour save, a couple $100,000 over a period of 10 years, that is suffering. I would call it suffering. We're talking about happy, jovial people, but I'm telling you, they're eating cheap. They're packing their lunches. They're working late. They're taking the overtime. They're doing everything they can to build their wallet up and get by cheap. And, some people say, there's I remember seeing some idiot kid, hickeys on his neck, and he says, I ain't flipping burgers, man. And it's like, well, what do you think, dipshit? You go flip burgers, and you don't have to do it forever, but what he's missing is you got an opportunity to learn how a burger business works. People come in the door, customers, pay attention to what beef costs. See that there's a margin of money to be made. When you've got a job, don't look at it as like you're stuck in this job. Open your fucking eyes and see what your boss is doing to make money. And look at it more as an internship of business, of figuring out what to do, because that's what is right. Believe me, that's what I've always done. Anybody I've ever worked for, first thing I think of is how much is he making? How much is he? I'm trying to figure out how much is he making off me. He's paying me $15 an hour, $10 an hour, $8 an hour. Way back when. And then I'm looking at what the product cost. In this case, it would have been cabinets, and I start figuring out, man, there's some money to be made here. And I ended up, 17 years old, opening up my cabinet shop. I was 19. Yeah, 19. No, actually, I was 17. 17 went to work, and I opened up my own cabinet shop, my own business at 19. And you guys know the story if you have my book. But look, there's opportunity. Go find it. But listen, whatever you do, nothing else to do, just go to work for cheap. Work a second job if you got nothing better going. That some guys have heartache. Believe me, I had a girl break my heart, and let me tell you, I just worked and worked and worked. I just tried to make money and to fill my time. Rather than fill my time watching football and drinking. Fortunately, I hate football. Watching any sports, I don't like it. Thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button. Listen, there's a fortune to be made. I'm opening up this kind of just a full immersion, and you're going to see multiple millionaires have come out of my class. Multiple people making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Million could be your goal. I don't care. But even if you make $10,000 or 20 or 50 or 100 or 350, 550, and I got people all over the place that have made profits like that, it's a hell of a lot better than sitting still. I know that $100,000 can improve somebody's living, especially if you're already 50, 60 years old. You make an extra $100,000. That'll make the next 10 years a little bit easier, right? And if you do it every year for the next 10 years, you got $1 million. So I'm gonna let you guys go. Have a great night. I'm sorry for all the problems. Let me take a quick look here. What do we got here? Hey, Richard Smith, good to see you, buddy. 10 minutes of silence. Got it. No audio. Jeez. All right, man. All right. Yep. JD, Addison, all you guys, Jake, keep it up. Cut them. Uh, yeah, sorry about the no sound for a bit there. But just go away with this, man. Work hard. Work hard. This is the time to double down. You know, be a bigger asset to your boss if you work for somebody. And I can tell you, people, people out there are they're so frustrated. I mean, businesses are like, man, I'm already paying good money, and I still can't keep people. So it's really tough. So it's hard to throw more money at the problem. You know what I mean? Normally, you just throw more money at somebody and say, here, man, if you want to keep this job, you'll get paid. If you don't, I'll find somebody else that'll do it. Guys are having trouble with those kind of situations. So I don't know. Anyways, I ain't got the answers on that one, but I can tell you how to make money in real estate. So go to flipanythingusa.com, hit subscribe, hit like. I appreciate it, guys. We'll see y'all later.